What's up, Instagram fam? We're off to a very silly start, but we are No Labels podcast. Listen, I'm gonna tell you now. This is if I'm silly, blame it on the alcohol. It's a little holiday cheer. I've got a little holiday cheer courtesy of our producer, Keandra Harris. Because we got the queen in the building.
Keandra is to blame.
So, shout out to everybody enjoying a little holiday cheer. No Labels.
No Labels podcast.
You to partake in some holiday cheer along with us.
Living
We're
good.
quite cheerful.
Laugh, love.
Yeah, we good.
Good. We live in both ways.
We live in both places. We are live on Facebook. What's up, Facebookers? We are live with the Instagram fam. What's up, y'all? We are No Labels podcast.
We about to crank it up.
Listen, we just so glad to not be sick anymore. So you know that anytime I have a really if I have a real bad headache or anything, the moment when it's gone, I feel like just so grateful to not be sick. I get a little silly. I'm just like, no, I'm alive and well. I'm alive and well.
You know what it feel like to feel good.
Yes, like I got a different appreciation for just the everyday feeling good. So that is what a little bit of my giddiness, plus a little holiday cheer. And if I'm sweating out the last little bit of that, well, listen, y'all fortify yourselves. Whatever this non-COVID bug is going around, it ain't playing.
Because COVID done messes up. Like, as soon as you get sick, you think COVID instead of cold.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Once I started feeling bad and started feeling feverish, I've already had COVID twice this year. I just kind of touched my I said, I know you lying. I know that, and I took the test and it was negative. I was like, you better have been negative because ain't nobody got time for 3 rounds.
I thought I had COVID again. I ain't gonna lie, but I didn't.
Good job.
I live in,
but there is something going around that is just
a regular cold. We getting sick.
But here's the thing about it, and I blame COVID for this because literally, even as a child growing up, I've never been a cougher. Like in my family, if anybody coughs,
I'm always a cougher.
I'm not, and so even I take note of that. So like even people in my family, if there's a cough, it's usually symptomatic of a deeper issue. Like my daddy had something that started with a cough, landed him in the hospital for months. Like another cousin of mine had a cough, landed him. He had like allergic reaction to medicine, landed him in the burn center because he had ulcers. Like it was bad. So coughing for us is a serious business. Yeah. But COVID, I did cough with COVID, but I've never been a cougher. But because I've had it twice and I got this cold or flu, whatever it was, and I'm still got a lingering cough, I blame COVID. For the fact that I'm not a...
Now COVID, don't say that. But COVID do mess with your lungs though.
But yeah. So
let me get the intro
started. I'm sorry, but yeah, we lit in more ways than 2.
What's going on, people? This is No Labels podcast. I am your host Willie G. We got Miss Audrey in the building.
Hey y'all.
We got the Queen in the building. We're going on 10 years.
Queen / bartender on the holiday cheer.
We got me and the Queen celebrate 10 years.
Give it up.
10 years this month.
Woo-hoo!
So yeah, we in there.
Yay.
We celebrate 10 years.
10 years married. That is
Listen, we got married at 22. So to all the people who was married young, we made it to 10 years. And if you know, that's a celebration.
Celebrate. Listen, I salute you. Harris tribe. I salute y'all.
That's a toast. So how everybody doing? How you doing today?
Have toasted in. So raise a glass to 10 years.
10 years, baby.
Of the Harris tribe. We celebrate that. December 27th. Cheers to King Willie, Queen Keandra.
Black love, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Black love. How y'all doing today? Y'all good? How y'all feeling today? Y'all got everything good? Out of the cold? Everybody?
Somebody DJ say happy anniversary, Willie G.
Oh, appreciate it. Black love. How y'all feeling? Everybody good?
Yep.
We good?
I'm almost at 100%. I feel like I'm at about 92. I was down bad, y'all.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into it. And the first, I'm gonna just to get it. We already started. But just to get
we're wound up.
Just a couple icebreakers. This one for you especially. Let's go and get it out of the way.
For who? For Keith?
For you.
For me?
Yeah. J-Lo is doing the Whitney Houston tribute. We're gonna start with that.
Okay, let me start with the fact that I said my little piece, but Facebook did flag that as a false information.
Oh, so they're not?
No, like, because, like, when I posted the meme and all the post and all the different people looking. I was like, Jenny, better go on back to the block and stop playing with me.
Is that so? Is it true or not?
But my post got flagged as false information, and I really hope that's true because we don't need J-Lo tribute nothing to Whitney.
Who can play the J-Lo? I mean, who would y'all recommend to do the J-Lo tribute? I mean, not the J-Lo tribute, the Whitney tribute.
It's a lot of folks can handle a J-Lo tribute.
Jennifer, who can do a Whitney tribute?
Let me tell you who really can, and she's and I take this extremely seriously, but if y'all need the receipts and videos to back it up, who could handle? And it's a few that out there, but this person, she's not black, she's from the UK, but Jessie J, and I will post clips later. Jessie J can absolutely handle a Whitney tribute.
What about
and y'all know I don't play by Nippy.
What about the girl from Dreamgirls?
Jennifer Hudson.
I
mean, she would do okay, but and I'm not saying that she would do badly, but she's got very much her own. She's a different approach to singing than Whitney did. She's extremely powerful, and I like Jennifer Hudson, not J-Lo. J Hud. It's so many between Jennifer Lawrence, Jennifer Lopez, Jennifer Hudson, all the J whatever. But Jennifer Hudson, I think she's a phenomenal singer, performer, and I like what she does with some Whitney songs. I don't know who that is.
I don't know if she can play Whitney though.
As far as playing her or just doing a musical tribute? Doing a tribute, when I tell y'all, and she actually, the artist I'm talking about, Jessie J, her name is, her artist name is Jessie J. Her name is Jessica Cornish. She's from the UK. I discovered her where she was like right at the edge of underground about to break through. She was sitting on the floor in this Prince t-shirt.
Jessie
singing
J?
a song called Mama Knows Best. She's probably one of my favorite living singers, real talk. She is phenomenal. But she did a singing competition in China and won. And she did a couple of Whitney songs. And when I say her rendition of I Have Nothing was phenomenal. And I remember her, and then she did do I Will Always Love You. And she made a statement that was so full of reverence to Whitney. She was like, listen, I felt like I need to have accomplished a certain something in my career to even perform this song, because she held it in such reverence. And she did that. And then she got, it's in that same competition. She did a performance of My Heart Will Go On that will send chills down your little musical spine.
She might be a candidate.
I'm telling you, just if anybody know how my heart for music and know you listen. If y'all need me to put my receipts, I was an actual certified music journalist for a national magazine. I know what I'm talking about. Jessie J.
Whoever do a Whitney tribute,
Jessie J can handle it.
Gotta be. That's just like Chris Brown.
And if the black people stone me, I don't care. She's not black, but whatever. She can handle it.
That's just like Chris Brown. Like Chris Brown, the perfect person to do a Michael tribute. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But okay, let me go to the.
I mean, they ain't trying to see like Offset.
Let's give another round of applause to Warnock. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Mama, we did it.
Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock from Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, it shouldn't have been that close.
Now, just a quick recap.
I think Herschel is glad he didn't win.
Do we?
I really do. My mom and I talked about this right before the podcast.
So Warnock won.
Yes.
Is Warnock a good candidate in your eyes, just personally? Like, is he like? Do you think he's gonna implement change? He's better than Herschel. That's a fact.
So here's a couple of things, like, for me, before I get too deep in this conversation. Is a few things I gotta take off the table. Is there gonna ever be a perfect candidate? No. And especially when you consider what campaigning is like, especially in American politics, they're gonna dredge up every unsavory thing you've ever done in your past, and they're gonna spotlight that. So is there gonna be a reason to be like, there's always gonna be a specific reason to maybe be iffy of somebody. But if you consider the men before you, the candidates before you, and the job at hand, I don't think that there was a more clear choice than Raphael Warnock versus Herschel Walker.
They got a little weird.
I do think that Warnock has proven that he is willing to make change.
I think he is
one of the most bipartisan candidates in the Senate. And I think just for me personally, I don't identify with either party, but I do think that the best thing for democracy is a good balance of all of it. So I don't think we need 100% Democratic. I don't think we need 100% Republican. I think we need a good mix of all of it that can take the issue seriously and like, okay, and so not all of it, but so few of these positions are lifetime positions. So what can you do in 2 years? He got some substantial things done in 2 years, and now he gets 6. But 6 years is a long time or a short time, depending on how you want to look at it in history. And so the question becomes, what can he get done from his current position within 6 years? And if we could be realistic in how we think about that, I do think that we have the best person for the job.
I do too. I honestly, it's way better.
But like, take perfection off the table. Take some stuff off the table. Yeah. You know. But also too, he doesn't. I don't feel like he aligns totally with Biden. He's really more concerned about Georgia. Yeah. And that I appreciate.
I do.
Absolutely.
I like one. I like one. Once again, congratulations to Warnock. Congratulations one more time for
congratulations to
Herschel Walker did not win.
Senator Reverend.
If you're mad about that, I'm sorry. Brittany Griner. What y'all think about that?
Happy she home.
Yeah, happy
Very
she home.
glad she's home.
They traded her for an arms dealer, so it is. And I'm not gonna say because I mean, I don't, like if I'm Brittany Griner family and I hear somebody say that's not a good trade, I'm like, what you mean? But just from the United States point of view, the like, is that a good trade?
So okay.
Brittany Griner for the arms dealer.
Go for it.
No, I don't feel like it was a good trade for us. I feel like great she's home, but for who's getting something out of the deal, Russia got something. Russia got a
No, I think it was absolutely a very unbalanced trade. But it does not. That does not. But okay, when we talk about unbalanced, I think it was a pretty clear that it's an unbalanced trade. Yeah. However, how balanced was the sentence to her crime?
Now that was crazy.
You see what I'm saying?
That was crazy.
Like we want to talk about
that.
Let's talk about all balance. Like she got 9 years for.
But in Russia, that's the rules of the law.
I do understand. I do understand that. So I'm not taking that. It's very layered. Yeah. And so I also wonder if they even sentenced her with future negotiation in mind.
They definitely had negotiation.
But I will say, just from the aspect of American humanity, that
it's good in that
if
part.
you're thinking about that and you just think about her family, and you just think about like don't rob them of don't let anybody make you feel bad about being glad that your wife is home. Yeah. Don't let nobody make you feel bad. Like, are we being serious? I remember, and this is again like the same sentiment but a different situation. When I was pregnant, obviously pregnant out of wedlock or whatever. I remember my pastor's wife told me, she said, "Let me tell you something. Don't you let anybody make you feel bad about being happy about your baby." Yeah. And I think it's that same sentiment. It's just like, you know what? The family not thinking about global politics.
Yeah.
They're not. And so when I think about what that means for a person's family, like, you know, you don't even know how this person's being treated. You just don't know. Yeah. So it's hard for me not to rejoice with people who are truly like, oh my God.
No, you gotta rejoice.
My life got shaken up and we didn't know if it was gonna ever be resolved. I didn't know if I was gonna have to spend the rest of my life without this person. So when you think about the humans involved, then
the human side.
Now when you put it into global politics, you can talk in pawns and trades and deals. Now, here's another alternative. Like, okay, if this is all, and then people want to bring Paul Willett, and I think it's absolutely right to bring Paul Willett into the conversation. But also, when you consider the global impact, like, it's so impersonal. And then it was a very emotionally driven thing. You know, if we didn't have like some things with social media, real talk, I wouldn't have known who Brittany Griner was if it wasn't for certain things. And so when you consider how people use real human lives as pawns in global politics, you know, you got a country that's at war, you know, like, no, is it balanced? No, but that's not the only thing that's not balanced with this when you consider global politics. But consider another alternative of like, you know what? If we hadn't have done this, we may not have gotten anything in the trade at all. Yeah. That's one perspective to take. So, like, maybe you got President Biden is like, no, we're going to take what we can get and we'll continue to work to get the rest of what we want. But, like, we could have pushed for more and got nothing. You know, and I think a lot of legalities in the United States, especially when you start to prosecute cases and things like that, it's just like, well, you don't want to go so hard to the point of losing everything. It's like, yeah, we wanted all of this, but for the sake of losing all of it, we took what we could get. You know, so I think you just got to think about it. It's layered.
No, that it's definitely
But
layers.
yeah, let us rejoice.
It's
that
definitely layers, but
an
it's
American
like
citizen who was detained, did the punishment fit the crime?
it didn't. But at the same time, like me being former military, Americans we spoiled because truthfully, like you gotta understand before you go into another world, because like when you go to another world, like if you like in certain countries, like if you do certain things to another man's wife, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta know certain, and it's like it's not their responsibility to know. You know what I'm saying? It's like she lucky she got caught in Russia with the weed, because if she got caught like somewhere in like one of them Korean countries, yeah, it'd have been worse. And it's like now, yeah, you gotta from the human standpoint, yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna rejoice because I'm imagine me in there. I don't care who is left behind. I don't
Yeah.
care. I
No.
don't care about who they traded for. I'm here, and on that point, you gotta rejoice. But let it be a lesson that
No, for
when
real.
you go outside of it, everywhere is not America. You know
It's
what I'm saying? And
Listen.
and
When I went to Mexico this summer, it was something, and they literally changed the COVID. They literally changed the COVID laws while we were on vacation. And so then it became a certain. Then they started pushing our flight backs, and it was like they were either getting delayed or whatever. Like we could do this or we could. I was like, we need to be back in America.
it's different.
If a delayed flight in America, like we need to get like that's the whole thing. Like I remember not sleeping that night. I'm like, we're just gonna stay up. I'll pack up everything, rest. It was all good. But I was like, but I was very aware that I was in a different country, and I know for the most part how the laws of America work. I can't get stuck in Mexico.
No, please.
And so, but my point is to your point.
And China.
I started making decisions based on I'm not in my home country.
You got to be aware
know.
of that, because if you're
And
not,
so like, wait, what's the law? Are we sure?
'Cause the
What
thing
is it?
is-
Well, what did Biden say? Like we literally like no. What did and so literally we were having conversations that started with what and I had never been in that situation before, but we were literally was saying what our president just said.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When they were like, oh, you have to take a COVID test, and we were like, I ain't about to be out $90 for no good reason. But we were literally starting conversations and questions with, well, you know, our president just released a statement.
That's great.
And that gave me a different, just an awareness. And
Yeah.
I think to your point, it's just like you do have to have that different awareness when you're crossing national borders.
Because it get real, and
It
it's like,
does.
and the crazy thing about it, like it's plenty Brittany Grinders all over the world right now, but they don't have a name.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They, like she's not the only one over there locked up because she did some, you know what I'm saying, over some marijuana, but she has a name.
I got a friend who's
You know what I'm
literally
saying?
scared to like not gonna say scared, but has an apprehension about international travel. And this is since we were in high school. And he was like, I don't know them laws. And that was always his
And-
reason. He was like, I don't know them laws.
Just look at the big ones. Just look at the penalties. Like if you know you going over there and you trying to smoke, look at the big ones. Cause
Right.
look
Like
at the big
you
ones.
need to like and here's the thing now again, we're all very happy that Brittany Griner's home. But just taking it out of that specific context and look at the laws for cannabis and marijuana aren't even consistent in the United States.
yeah, because in Georgia and
And you
California,
done jump borders. You done jump national borders.
but
So I do think there is personal responsibility to know
it's a lesson.
if you're going to travel this place and you have things that are under like in a like an ambiguous legal space like that could come with hard time, then you do have responsibility, I think, to know that going in and govern yourself accordingly. It could be a very strong cautionary tale,
Please be
you
careful.
know. But
Careful, people.
But opening statement and bottom line, we're very glad. I'm so glad
Definitely.
for Brittany Griner's family.
Shout out to the family.
And then for her, again for her sisters in the league, all of that is.
Yo, shout out.
And
My bad.
and we consider how much the WNBA is just fighting for as an organization. For them to get a global win on this level,
global
I
win,
think,
yeah.
I think
Shout out
all
to
of
the
those things
WNBA.
that we can, shout out to the WNBA.
Shout out to the because
Yeah.
they definitely underpaid, I believe. Okay, so
all right.
we almost
Okay.
at 30 minutes. One
No,
last.
listen, we got a lot of things. Keep
We're
it
gonna
moving.
we're gonna be
Popping.
we're gonna be 5 minutes on this one, but this is a big one. This is to our community. Coach Prime. Coach Prime. First of all, me personally, like I'm gonna go ahead and lay my like I
You
am.
lead on this.
I'm not mad at Coach Prime at all. You know what I'm saying? And it's plenty different. Do you know the Coach Prime story?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure it's a sports thing, so I don't know how deep
You
involved.
think I don't like sports?
I know you like sports,
I
but
was
I'm
a whole
just,
cheerleader.
me personally,
do like-
as a father, as a man, like I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I get the
And I
arguments,
grew up with Dion as a player. Don't try me.
but it's like a lot of people mad. They feel like that he used Jackson State as a stepping stone, and I don't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? I can see how they see it. I can see how they can see it that way, but it's like as a father first. You know what I'm saying? As a man, as a father first. You know what I'm saying? Who has a son who has the opportunity to play in the NFL, and he has the opportunity to put his son in the best position to do that. That's just one of the layers.
That's one layer.
But let's not go to what he did while he was at Jackson State. Like he dedicated half his salary to bettering their facilities. You know what I'm saying? He just won a perfect season. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I get it. I did it because like when Dion came, one of his biggest arguments was like he was there to make HBCUs competitive in the whole lane. You know, give eyesight to. And I get it. 3 years, a lot of people feel like that's not enough. Like you need at least, you know what I'm saying, at least, you know what I'm saying, 5, 6, 7. But it's like, how you mad at this man? You know what I'm saying? First of all, he's a black head coach right now in where we don't get a lot.
Yeah.
Coming from HBCU, so that's already a door busted down. I mean, given he is Dion, but I mean, what y'all? Like I said, we got.
And also, too, he didn't have a lack of finance. Like, he struggled with a lot of stuff. He had to reach out to what's the man, Michael Cohen? Not Mike. What's the Michael name? Big Michael. He on Good Morning America.
Strahan.
Michael Strand. Reach out to him for school. So
Well,
that
he didn't.
travel out. He needed resources, and HBCU did not have that. A lot of
But-
alumni for HBCUs don't pay back into the
But it ain't that. Is HBCUs are actually underfunded
Oh,
heavily.
That's a whole. Yeah.
HBCUs are underfunded heavily, so it's not that HBCUs didn't want to give it to him. They literally didn't have it, but that's why he donated half. But I'm gonna just my opinion, because I ain't gonna because I want to get to the other half of the podcast. But my opinion on that, and then I let Audrey give hers. Is I understand the arguments, but me personally, I'm not mad at Dion for what he did and what he gonna do. What's your 2 cents?
I will say so. When the news kind of first hit me, I looked at it through the HBCU lens, and I was like, "Dang."
It's
You
a
know,
hit.
yeah, but and then actually, but then talking to people who are like just more heavily into how football moves and things like that. Like I don't knock Dion. I don't, not at all. Now, I think my thing was like, well, going back to like, well, what did he say his purpose was for going?
Yeah.
You know, now, but also is it fair to put the entire rebuilding of HBCU athletics on the shoulders of this one man? You know, and so it's a lot of different ways you can look at it. I do understand, like from the HBCU aspect, it stings a little bit. It's like, dang,
It looked kind of weird from the HBCU.
you know.
aspect,
But
yeah.
also, let's not act like he didn't do what he said he was going to do for that school. And I think one of the biggest gifts is that he left a blueprint that it can be done. And so once I really started to look at it through the lens of my own career, it made a lot more sense to me, and I completely like support it in a different way. But like I remember, because if you look at my career in retail, I've worked for a lot of different companies, and I moved around a lot. And I remember I had someone, I was in an interview, and I had a regional director tell me, they were like, "You are a great candidate. We want to hire you." But she pulled up my resume. She literally held it. She was like, this may have to stop. I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, people will want to hire you, but they'll be afraid you would leave. Yeah. You know, they were like, so if we like I'm offering you a job right now, but I'm also asking for at least a 4-year commitment. And based on your resume, around about 2.5, 3 years, which is about where Dion is, you know, like you tend to leave. And she was like, so really think about it. And I was so grateful to her. And I literally remember the Holy Spirit in that conversation kind of like tapping me on my shoulder, was like, listen, she's saying something valuable. So I kind of perked up and really heard what she said, you know, and I ended up actually not taking the job, but I wrote a really meaningful thank you. And I still hold that conversation because it was very insightful. But what I had to realize about myself First of all, there's a difference between the construction team and the maintenance team. I had to realize I am construction. I'm not maintenance. And so even some of the jobs that I would get, I used to kind of get offended until my mom helped me get a little different perspective, because I felt like people were giving me the crap stores that nobody else wanted, i.e. an HBCU. You know, like, well, dang, like, you say I'm so good, then why do you keep giving me these problematic stores? And really it came down to, you're the only one who knows what to do with them and to turn them around. And once I do that, turn them around, get the staff right, teach them how this works. And once I get that done and get a team in place that can maintain it, my work is done. And I go on. And so my influence and my blueprint is still there. And I'm going on to the next school who needs me. And so what is Colorado, 11-1? They need him.
They horrible.
You know, now again, that's taking the HBCU aspect off the table. But once I really looked at Audrey, well, how have you moved in your career? It ain't much different from how Primetime moving. And once I understood, like, my role is construction. And once I've constructed it and once I got it, y'all don't need me anymore. I'm still available for mentorship. I'm still available to help and guide and give advice. But there's another place that needs me in-house on the ground doing the work. And I'm going to go where the need is. And I'm going to stay until the need goes away. And then I'm going to be on to the next thing.
That's
and
your
so
purpose.
once I saw it through the lens of my own career, I was like, more power to Primetime. You know, it's sting a little bit for the HBCUs, but also, well, what can we learn from what he did? Because he did it at Jackson State. So some of y'all other coaches who are there, learn from him. I don't want to. I want to believe he's not going to discontinue mentorship if other coaches from HBCUs were to reach out.
Yeah.
He left you the possibility that this could be done within this time frame, within this system. You know,
And
so
he left
we
you a
can
window.
still learn from his influence is still there, whether his physical body is not. And I see that because I know I live in my own career. So
If they capitalize.
more power to Primetime.
Yeah, more power to Primetime. If they capitalize.
Now, what they do with it when they leave is on them.
Like,
it ain't on me, because I did what y'all hired me to do, what I said I would do, and I got the receipts to prove it. If y'all didn't maintain it, that's not on the construction team.
Okay, that's Primetime. Shout out to Prime.
Shout out to Primetime.
Shout out to Primetime. Shout out to Primetime.
Listen, y'all. Shout out to our producer, because she tightened us up. Everybody need a little polish and tighten up.
All right, so
listen, Spotify just gave us a shout out. We got to keep it going.
Oh yeah. Shout out to us. Top 25% most shared podcast globally.
The
Top 25%.
of
So
most
yeah.
Spotify podcast share. Like, shout out to y'all, whoever y'all are,
Definitely.
rocking with us, sharing the podcast.
Always
Like, the
thank
biggest
you.
numbers came from Spotify. We made that top 25%. We're in with our third season.
Going our third season. Our
We're
third
wrapping
season.
up third season, y'all. Just thank y'all so much.
Definitely.
Shout out to y'all. Shout out
Big
to
time.
us. Shout out to the producer that keeping us tight and just keeping us better. So where we at? We keep it rolling.
All right, so we got
Shout out to the holiday cheer.
we got the first half of the podcast over with. Name of the podcast is Genius. We just gonna talk about the genius of God. You know, that's my favorite subject. But I want to start this portion of the podcast with a quote from Albert Einstein, and it says, "Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them." And the genius of God in my life, what I found is, I've reached I've seen my limits. You know what I'm saying? When I seen my limits, I realized my need for God, and that Bible scripture made so much more sense when Jesus said, "I am the vine, you are the branch, you can do nothing without me." I reached the place where I saw my limits. You know what I'm saying? And I also met my God, which is allowing me to go beyond my limits. But the genius of God to me, and you can quote, you can go anywhere you want to go with this, but it's like it changes our definition of good, because good doesn't look like depression until you come out of it, and then you speak on depression to other depressed people, and now you have the roadmap to come out of it. Or the good don't look like what Audrey went through. You know what I'm saying? And that's not good. But the outcome, you know what I'm saying, of the pain is genius. You know what I'm saying? The outcome of that pain is genius. And it's like God took me off. God took my Disney shades off a long time ago. And so now I read the Bible through human lenses. You know what I'm saying? I don't just see David as the man after God's own heart. I see David, the man with rejection issues. You know what I'm saying? The man that suffered depression, the man that all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I see Moses as also dealing with rejection. I mean, I see humans.
Yes.
I see God dealing with human, and as God is pushing this global kingdom individually, he's in our unique lives in these unique ways to get us to these certain places at the exact same time, so that you get a Audrey, or you get a Royal Ink magazine, or you get a Keandra, or you get a No Labels podcast. So we just gonna give somebody hope today.
Yeah.
We talking about the genius of God. We're gonna talk about like just don't give up if you in a bad place. Now like Audrey, I'm gonna just start with this so I can bring you in this.
All right.
Like, okay, like when I'm talking about the genius of God, like, okay, your experience, you're not a babe in this thing. You even an elder, an ordained elder. So you got some stripes in this game. You know what I'm saying? So if you had to give somebody hope right now, how would you describe the genius of God? And how would you describe the genius of God in your own life? How would you, in your own Audrey fashion?
Oh my God, that's a big question.
It is big. It's levels.
Okay, so let me just dial it back to just what you first started talking about God being good. Two scriptures came to mind. You know, one is Romans 8:28, where it says all things work together for good. It doesn't mean that all things will be good, but the bottom line of the eventual outcome is good.
Yeah.
And so that can give you hope as you go through the things that are working together for good. The things that are working together may not feel good, may not actually be good, but they're feeding the good outcome. And that's something you learn through relationship with God over time. Yeah. And it's hard to trust the word of God without having a relationship with him. That's like trying to trust what a stranger's word based on what? They're like, we know they said they're going to do this for you.
But you don't know
Sue down the street says, oh, who is Sue and what street is she down? I don't know her like that.
I don't know Sue credentials,
But the other scripture is really, and then David said this, and it does take a minute. I remember actually having a preacher say that they had not gotten to this place yet. And I actually got there several years ago where I understand it at least more deeply when he says, it was good for me that I was afflicted. Now, that first half of that verse does not work without the second half. Yeah. He says, it was good for me. He didn't say to me. He said for me. Yeah. He said, it was good for me that I was afflicted because it taught me your statutes. There are certain things that I would not know to be true about God had it not been for the afflictions he allowed. If there's a promise from God that says I can turn your mourning into dancing, how do you know it until you mourn and then dance?
So you taste it.
Until you know it. And so there are things that he's allowed because it teaches you that his word is true. If he says that I can take that heaviness from you and give you a garment of praise instead, until you have to endure something heavy, you can believe it, but it's a difference between believing and knowing. And Paul, going back to that first scripture, where Paul says that in Romans 8:28, he says, now I know that all things. He didn't say I believe. He didn't say I think.
I know.
He said, now I know. And if you're at a place of knowing, that means something tangible has happened to prove that God's word is true. Yeah. And then if you can take one win, a win is a win, and feed your faith, you can believe bigger things. And that's when God says, I can take you from faith to faith and glory to glory. Listen, however much faith you have, it's what I've really been to that mustard seed. I remember somebody gifted me mustard seeds once to give me some perspective to see how small they are. Like, this is really all the faith you need. And I have been at mustard seed level before. And so when you really see that's enough, it's like, you know what? Don't look ahead. Don't look behind. Right now, in the moment, whatever faith you have, believe that it's enough. And that belief will get you to the next moment. You keep taking those steps, and you look back and like, oh, I made it.
And that's an experience.
I made it with my sanity.
Let it breathe.
I made it with my life.
Let it breathe.
I'm a little wiser. I'm a little kinder. I'm a little more compassionate. I'm stronger. I got more power. I got more anointing. I made it, and I made it with coming out with more than I went in with, even if it felt like losses. I came out with more than I went in with.
So it was for your good.
It was
It
for
didn't-
my good.
it didn't feel
and
good.
It didn't feel good.
Didn't feel
And
good.
so when you get to a place where it was good for me, that I was afflicted, that is not going to be true for you until you get that second half. Why were you afflicted? Because it taught you things about God that you would not know. You can believe all day, but God really wants to take you from believing to knowing. And how can you do that until you get a tangible situation that makes you have to believe in the face of unbelief that God's word is the truth?
Experience.
I've
is the best
lived it
teacher.
time and time again.
I got another statement for you. I got another statement for you to.
Y'all can let that breathe.
This-
I told y'all I was lit.
I
What
want
else
you
you
to.
got?
I want you to. I got a statement. Everybody believes in God until it's time to believe in God, and this is what I mean by this statement. And I had to learn. This is a personal statement I had to learn for myself. So I ain't bashing nobody, but this is the truth. What I mean by everybody believe, it's just like everybody is shooting until it's time to shoot. You know what I'm saying? Everybody a leader until
What
it's.
Mike Tyson say? Everybody got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah. Everybody. It's like.
Word to Mike Tyson.
It's like. When is it? Okay, we believe in God. We sing all these things. We post these posts. Okay, but when it's time to believe it, like okay, like when you're at that place, at that rock bottom, at that low place, or when you're trying to do something that's never been done, whatever the case may be. Okay, now it's time. Okay, you got this. You believe in this Almighty, Red Sea splitting, walking on water God. Okay, now life is saying, prove it. You know what I'm saying? Prove it. You know what I'm saying? Like when life is yelling at you, where is your God now? You know what I'm saying? What do you like now? Like what do you do when you beat down the press?
When
Said,
you've had to pray that prayer, Lord, please do not make me ashamed for believing you. And when you have to dig out those promises around how He won't let you be ashamed, I really think if you're at a place for digging for those scriptures, I really think you're in a great place in your faith. Because you are choosing to believe in the face of everything that doesn't make sense, that opposes your belief. Just like, God, I'm going to still believe you, and it don't look like I should, and it don't even make sense to me. Yeah. Don't make me ashamed. Yeah. Make me not ashamed. Do not let my enemies triumph over me. Yeah. You know?
Amen.
But you got to get some skin in the game with God. You got to get some relationship, and wherever you are, I guess that was the message of hope for right now. Wherever you are, good, bad, or indifferent, let it be a moment that God strengthen you in who He is to you. If everything is good, rejoice in the fact that He's a provider and He's good and He's all these great things. And take that into whatever the next season is and remind yourself that He's still that. Same, yesterday, today, and forever. Seasons change. God does not. And one of the tricks of the enemy that I will call him on every time is the devil he wants to make you believe that for every new season, you need a new God. And God said, no, I am the same.
Forevermore.
And so if I was good in the last season and this season don't feel good, understand that I am still good and I'm still your God. The question is, will you still believe me?
It take that. Like that's the genius of God. Like Eric Thomas, I love Eric Thomas.
Yeah.
And
I love Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas talk about, how diamonds are made. And diamonds are made under extreme pressure. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not glorifying the pressure because our Lord knows the pressure is not what you, but after you done, like you kind of understand, like once the pressure come, it makes you a little harder. You know what I'm saying? It makes you able to take rejection. It makes you it makes rejection nothing. Like I don't you get to a point I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But to get to a place where you don't care about people's opinion, you know what I'm saying? That's a process. You know what I'm saying? Like to get to a place where you don't mind speaking in public, that's a process. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the best idea is birthed out of desperation, or you know what I'm saying, it's like birthed out of when you at your lowest. So it's like to me, it's like you gotta just stand in the moment, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You gotta really be, you know what I'm saying. Like I got to a place where I feel this, but you get sick and tired of it. You get sick of being scared. You get sick of being worried, and you make a decision. For me, I think the power is in the decision. Like I was talking to Frank, one of my partners, the other day, and it's like,
what's up, Frank?
And Frank was like, Frank Watson, what's up, man?
What's up, Shantae?
And Frank was like, a lot of us wait for a moment to change. Like we waiting on this big moment. We waiting on this extravagant moment instead of starting right now. You know what I'm saying? Instead of emptying yourself right now where you at. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having faith right now, because faith is now. You know what I'm saying? At any given moment, your life can change. You know what I'm saying? So live in that place. You know what I'm saying? Because the Satan, it's all a mind. It's all a mind issue. And to have any kind of hope, you got to understand that you got to understand a little bit of the genius of God. It's not. It's never what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like God is artist. It's never what it looks like. It's always a setup. As long as you can stay there and just stay in that place. Like, okay, God, you with me. I don't feel you, hear you. I don't see you. I know what I'm saying. I can't smell you. But you tell me that you.
I can't sense you, but he lives outside of
So
our
it's like,
senses. He can work within them, but he still would not be God enough if he was confined by our senses. We have to serve a God that lives outside of everything that can affect us. Our senses affect us. The earth affects us. Timing affects us. We're having to wait for a long time. Wears on you. So we have to serve a God that lives outside of the things that affect us. And or they would not be worthy, or that thing that affects us would be God.
And we hear, and it's like, I'm gonna be real, like God don't deal with cowards.
What do you mean? He kind of does. What do you mean?
I mean, as far as like he don't like cowardly. He's not. It's even. I ain't gonna go too deep. Matter of fact, I ain't even gonna touch that. But he basically.
Here's the thing, God never sees His creation as cowards.
You know
what I'm saying? So like, He's not coming to you. He's not like, listen, come on, look, Howard, get up. He's never doing that.
No, I'm not.
He's calling you as he sees you. Now, you still may be behaving cowardly. We had a whole Coward the King podcast. You still may be behaving as a coward. You still may be showing up in the world as a coward. But he is only going to call you through the lens of his own intention for you.
I'm not saying like that people can't be scared, because you look at Gideon. You know what I'm saying? Like Jeremiah was horrified.
But being scared and cowardly are slightly different things.
Exactly. So I'm not talking about being scared. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, okay, like, yeah, okay, I'm going to allow you to be scared. I'm with you. Like, okay, if you move while scared, that's different. That's courage. Because you can't have courage without fear being present. Other than that, it's not courage. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, okay, once you solidify, okay, God is with me, and you move in spite of the fear, okay. But if you never move, you know what I'm saying, then it's like, that's almost like, I look at it from a man's perspective, not a God perspective, as a man perspective. Like, if I tell my wife, I got her, I know you scared, you know what I'm saying, but if you go the opposite way, you know what I'm saying, that's the disrespect to me. Unless it's just obvious that I'm leading you in the wrong direction. I'm like, well, you don't think I got you? You know what I'm saying? What you talking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, after we leave and that get over with, like, that's gonna bother me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. If you didn't feel safe, you didn't feel safe.
Women,
like,
Willie giving y'all some game. I'm like, just saying, Willie giving y'all some game on
like, I got
trust and how it affects men, all of that.
It do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we feel like that. That's why, like, that's how I view worrying. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when I worry, I view it, because God calls himself a father. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, if my son walking around here worried about where you gonna get food from, that's like, first of all, it's gonna hit me, like, it's gonna hurt me.
Right.
First, now, anger is not the first. Like, it's gonna hurt me. Like, you don't think you gonna have a jacket? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just making an example. But you don't think you gonna eat? You know what I'm saying? Like, first, it's gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
That you thinking like that, but it's like,
you don't trust.
And that's what
especially when you know you have it worked out, because you just know more than your son.
Yeah.
And that's how God sees us. Like, you can't see as far as I can, so I really need you to trust me.
And it's gonna take some heart. Like, but after you know, like, I'm not like you. Everybody who does anything great, they do it scared, because you can't have courage without fear being present. It's impossible. But the willingness to step anyways. You know what I'm saying? That's faith.
Yeah. Listen, I remember about that time I had to resolve within myself. I said, listen. I remember when I was like, again, teaching and preaching regularly in church, and people like, how you? I'm scared. I'm like, I'll be scared too. I said, here's the thing. The difference is I'm scared and I'll do it anyway. And once I just had to just accept that in this moment, once I get going, I'm okay. Yeah. But I had to accept that fear likes to show up in this moment. And I was like, you know what, fear, if you insist on being here, you can get a front row, have a seat. You can get a front row seat to this purpose like everybody else. And eventually, once you get going, fear at some point, when nobody's paying attention, kind of slips out the back door. But I'm like, if you insist on being here every time I try to do this significant thing, then you can have a seat too and get a front row seat to this purpose.
Yeah, that's real.
That's where Royal AF came from, Royal and Fearless.
I mean, that's
and if fear insists on being here, I got a seat for you too, for as long as you want it. And usually it don't stay very long once I get going. But if it can hold you paralyzed in that moment, then it has won. And I'm like, you can let fear win.
It do. It do. I mean, I look at people. I look at you. I look at Keandra. I look at the Royal Ink magazine. And anyone who's ever stepped out, they respect it. They respect it. You know what I'm saying? Those who don't know, they don't know. But everyone knows who is doing things outside of the norm. They know it takes some guts to do it. You know what I'm saying? It takes some guts to put out a new product. It takes some guts to post whatever you're doing.
Appreciate the love, fam.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's all respect.
Here's the thing. Royal Ink Magazine and No Labels Podcast are essentially the same thing with a different outfit on.
It is.
It's the same.
Different industries.
We here for the streets. We here for y'all. We care about what y'all think.
I want
what y'all voices.
I want to connect with the real, man.
Yeah, we like authenticity.
The world is
That's
gritty.
probably one of the, if we had to, like one of Willie's most used buzzwords, it's going to always be authenticity.
Authenticity, yeah.
And so, yeah.
The world is gritty, man. The world is a gritty place. You know what I'm saying? Like you, like I'm bringing, like I want to bring this gospel to the where I'm at, like the real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Where faith meets culture.
It's gritty out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we live these real lives, and we also serve a real God.
You gotta be on your squares, cause when you broke and you struggling, you a little angry. You angry. You know what I'm saying? You in a bad mood, and you wonder why people getting shot up. Because we broke. You go like, bruh. That's why poverty is like, listen. I gotta talk to like, I want to give hope. Now, I'm not saying I'm broke, no. But it's like, man, look, we gotta be real, and we gotta understand that, yeah. Before we end, like I want to start talk another thing about the genius of God.
Okay.
Because you said all the thing. I've heard you say it before, but God's kingdom is almost like the upside down kingdom.
Yeah.
And it's like I want to speak on that genius because in culture, a lot in culture it's like love. To love is weak. I'm not saying like mom and that, but for a man to really fall in love with a woman is weak, and for a woman to fall in love with get that man to love is weak, but in God's kingdom, to love is strength. And period, like in real life, like that's why I shout out women, you know, because don't nobody do it better than women in my perspective. But to love is strength. You know what I'm saying? To love is to open yourself up. To love is Christ. Christ is looking at these people and saying, you know what I'm saying? God forgive them, because y'all don't know this, but y'all need this. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So to love is really strength. You know what I'm saying? I want to speak on that aspect of the upside down version. Like a lot of stuff that coaches teaches, the kingdom is like almost the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Because love is not weakness. Love is strength.
I think probably one of the most powerful lessons that I taught it first at my old ministry, Faith on the Move. And to the point, it was really powerful that like my pastors asked me to teach it immediately again. Like they were like I did it on like a Wednesday night. They were like, do the same thing again Sunday. I was like, change it? They were like, no, exactly what you did, do it Sunday.
What was the name of the teaching?
Kingdom currency, the flow of currency, kingdom giving and the flow of currency.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it took me a minute to get there. And then I was honored to minister it to the ladies group at Kingdom Life Christian. Kingdom Life Christian Fellowship here in Savannah, with Pastor Robeson and Pastor Yolanda. They so graciously allowed me to teach there. I taught the same message. Taught it again at my family's ministry at a women's conference. And one of the big things within that, as far as the upside down thing, when it talks about kingdom finances, is that the standard of the world is that you have what you hold, you have what you save. The standard of the kingdom is that you have what you give. You know, give, and it comes back to you in this way. Give, and giving is what unlocks all of these resources and wealth and riches and this limitless supply of heaven that God says that can be opened over our life. You know, even the perspective on the Malachi 3:10 where it talks about tithing. It's just like I gave a different perspective on that, where like this is like if you got to stop looking first of all, you got to stop looking at sacrifice as a loss. It's an exchange. You know, you got to stop looking at it in this way. It's like you say if you give you want the windows of heaven to open, you want all the promises, but you neglect the key, and the key is giving, because everybody tell you to grind and hold and grind and save and grind and stack and all those different things. And I'm not saying that you should be fiscally irresponsible. However, there is a specific set of doors that giving will open for you according to the principles and standards of the kingdom of God that is contrary to the world that we live in and the cultures that we live in. Even like if I bring it to a practical space, people were telling me when I put the magazine out and I put out Royal Ink magazine, like, well, how much are you charging for it? I was like, you know what? Nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, for as long, like I do eventually have a business plan to make it profitable with ad space and things like that. But for now, I want to give this thing away. And then you get some people like Les Brown, certain money, motivational gurus that like, hey, if you want to succeed in whatever your product is, give it away first. There is a biblical principle that, and it's one of the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. And like everybody's telling you, nah, get as much as you can get. And I got like to the point people were like kind of fussing at me about not charging. I was like, people don't even know what it is yet. But I knew one of the first things that I knew as far as like my spiritual blueprint for this work was that at the very least for the first year, there is no fee associated with this. And people can say I'm crazy, and that's fine. And people can say whatever I want, but I know the blessings that come from giving, and heaven supplies me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that I had to kind of just like ingrain. That's one of my go-to sentences whenever I feel internal resistance from money or giving. I'm like, or investment things. I was like, you know what? Heaven supplies me. And heaven, the resources and wealth of heaven is without limit. Yeah. And if you want to tap into that, hoarding is not going to do it. Giving is what unlocks that flow of currency. And I could preach a whole message. I've done it 5 times already. But there is a flow of currency. And what puts you in that flow of kingdom currency and limitless resource is giving. Yeah. Like even there, like with the whole, just a quick little snippet, of the message where when the prophet Elijah goes to this woman and like, she's like, listen, I got enough for me and my son to make this little bread. We're going to eat it and die. Yeah. He was like, okay, bet, I hear you. Make me some first. That sounds mean and cruel. Like, wait a minute, what? And what he wasn't trying to take from her. He was like, I'm trying to put you in the flow of currency, and giving is what does this. And her son didn't die, she didn't die, and they never went without, according to the word of God. Yeah. And so giving is what unlocks that flow, and that's a very upside down principle from the culture that we live in, from the money grind. You have it if you got it in your like. Okay, I serve a different kingdom.
That's fire though. That's genius.
But the genius of God,
genius,
that would not have ever come out of my mind.
That's genius. Well, on that. That was at a perfect offer.
My mom, I'm telling you, this is a real thing. My mama did this thing before she ever really tapped into that principle. And before she ever tapped into that principle, she did this thing. We were in high school or something, and she was like, I want to declutter my house. And she had this little thing. My mom is so animated, and she called it Operation Give More. Like within, she's like, I'm just giving away like clothes, books, things, kitchen. Like I'm just giving things away. And she was like, I'm calling it Operation Give More. She was like, I had more stuff come into this house trying to give stuff away. She's like, I could, and then in another same scenes of time, a friend of hers was saying, no, I gave my way out of debt. These are kingdom principles that don't really make sense on paper. You just gotta believe God, check the receipts. But she literally had a whole year thing of like, I'm Operation Give More. I'm giving, like I'm not buying. She didn't buy. She put a hold on her shopping. She put a hold on a bunch of stuff that was like funneling money out. It's like, I'm going to give away what I have. And more resources and more wealth came into our household because she decided she was going to Operation Give More. That is the genius of God. And it's like, you got to live it to prove that it's true. You gotta jump out. And it takes faith. You got to jump out.
Well, that was the perfect. That was the
perfect
offering.
So
now we're taking up offering. The cat. Now
you listen. What do we got? Cash App, no labels yet.
We don't yet.
Cash App, Keep It Royal is always on the poppin'. So Cash App, Keep It Royal, and I will give to no labels if y'all throw it. Keep It Royal.
We're gonna end on that. That was a dope podcast on the genius of of God. Do you got any final remarks?
I done preached 2 good times. No.
You good to go? Okay. Hey, well, I hope that inspired anyone watching.
We just hope y'all got some hope out of
when you're watching. The Genius of God. We are No Labels Podcast. I am your host, Willie G. We got Miss Audrey in the building. We got
All
the
right,
queen.
y'all. But I do want to say thank you again for everybody who's been
Definitely.
listening and sharing to
Definitely.
get us in that top 25 of globally shared podcasts on Spotify.
You are
We
much
cannot do
appreciated.
it without you. You
sure.
like listen. We can talk all day, but y'all gotta listen and engage, and we just appreciate it. We've got some more really exciting things that we're planning with you guys in mind. So just thank you. Continue. We'll keep showing up for y'all. Y'all keep rocking with us.
It's all about the people. Everybody comes to the table. Everybody gets a turn. We out, man. We love y'all.
All right, y'all.
Oh, that was amazing, guys.
Listen, she be so. We still be live.